So today I decided to look back on Spider-Man PS4 to see if it still holds up today, and if all the hype was deserved. First, I'll talk about the things I like. First off, this game still looks pretty good 3 years later, and the opening of this game is perfect. It perfectly establishes Spider-Man in the mood of the whole game. Also, the swinging is still really good. The only Spider-Man game that has better swinging is Miles Morales. The suits are also cool in this game, and there's quite a bit of them, which is pretty important in a Spider-Man game. Also, all the performances are pretty good for the most part, especially J. Jonah Jameson. The side missions were also decent for the most part. Some were better than others. The combat is also pretty good. There's decent enemy variety, and there's a skill tree where you can unlock even more moves. I really like that specific suits give you unique powers you can use during combat. I think that's a nice touch. And it's really satisfying to rank up and unlock new cosmetics and abilities. I also like the use of gadgets in combat. It makes combat much more dynamic and fun. I also like the interactions between Peter and MJ. I enjoy pretty much every scene with them, and they have a really good dynamic and chemistry with each other. Peter and Aunt May's interactions were also really sweet. There's also some really good emotional moments as well. The mission design is also pretty good for the most part, although I do wish the levels opened up a little bit more during boss fights. A good example of this is during the last mission when you fight Octavius. You're restricted to the top of one building. It would have been cool to fight throughout the city maybe. That would have been better than just fighting on top of just one building. Also, the dialogue is really good and it's pretty funny. The game is on the shorter side, but it's super replayable. I've 100% this game like 10 plus times already. I played this on Ultimate and the difficulty is perfect. It's challenging but fair, and it's really satisfying trying to get better at this game. But the one thing I really don't like is the puzzles. They aren't fun at all, and they're just annoying. Yes, I know you can skip the puzzles, but that's not an excuse. I shouldn't have to skip a core part of the game. If the developers added the option to skip the puzzles because they knew people wouldn't like it, then they shouldn't have added them in the first place. Or at least not in the state they're in now. I understand the game needs downtime in between swinging around and fighting bad guys, but this wasn't the right way to handle it. Also, the stealth missions where you didn't play as Peter weren't fun at all, and they were just plain annoying. This is a Spider-Man game. I don't want to play as someone other than Peter, especially a regular human. And now if these were cutscenes, that would make sense. But I will say the Spider-Man stuff is pretty good for the most part though. This game is a little short, and they can definitely use more content. I hope Spider-Man 2 has more content than this game. Also, the villain's motivations were understandable for the most part, but I do have some problems with how they were presented. So Electro wants to become pure energy, Rhino wants his suit off, Otto wants to expose and kill Norman, Mr. Negative wants to kill Norman, Vulture needs a cure from Otto, and Scorpion wants his debts gone. But I think it's weird and kind of lazy to display these motivations through these tapes that you find. So yeah, in conclusion, this game is still pretty good. There were some bad things about it, but the good definitely outweighed the bad. I just hope these things are fixed when Spider-Man 2 rolls around. Obviously, if you haven't played this yet, you definitely should. But if you're gonna buy it, make sure you buy the DLC as well. It's honestly better than the main story in my opinion. Anyways, that's it for me. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want, Patreon in the description, and bye bye.